Florida from. Hi, good evening. Hi, all. I'm from Anne from US, Melis from Nicosia. Hi, Ali. So many. Hi, Avinash from Bangalore. Hi, Faith from Nigeria. Hi, Amy. Hi, Ravi. Hi, Aishwarya. Hi, Sana. Hitesh from Pune. Chinni from Canada. Hi, Anusha. Hello, everyone. For everyone joining us from YouTube and LinkedIn, feel free to introduce yourselves in the comments. We will ensure that we take a look at that as well. Hi, Reena. Hi. Hi, Shreya from Gujarat. Hi, Sharat. Hi, Abhinav. So I think there's a huge group of audience joining us. Hi, Shweta from UK. Hi, Shiv. Hi, Pragati. Okay. All right. So, in the interest of time, I'm not going to be able to read out all of your names and welcome you all. But let me tell you, it's wonderful to see so many people join us today. Thank you all for joining and thank you for sharing all of your introductions with us. It's great to see you all join us. And today is going to be a very interesting workshop. And the topic is automate your reports with Python and GenAI. And like it's mentioned here, it's going to be a live workshop and we have a wonderful speaker join us today. So I'm sure you're all waiting to get building this together. So we'll quickly move on. I will also take a moment to introduce myself. I'm Shweta and I will be your host for today's webinar. So let me take you to the ground rules for today's session. So if you have any questions, please post your questions in the Q&A box. As you are building live, Basil will definitely try to keep a look at the chat, but he will be also showing you what is going to be done. So he might not be able to address all of your questions as and when it comes, but he will surely take it up whenever we have a break or whenever we pass on the questions to him. And I request all of you to use the chat box effectively in workshops. I know that a lot of you post your comments in the chat box as well. So there's a high volume of messages. I request all of you not to share any external links in the chat. And finally, for your certificate of participation, which is a question we get asked a lot, we will be sharing a poll towards the end of the webinar, and you will be receiving your certificates, the slide deck, the recording, and also a post-webinar resource. So with that, I'm going to quickly take you through what we do at Simplilearn. I just want to quickly ask, how many of you have attended our webinars before? Is this your first time or have you been attending webinars with us previously as well? Please let me know in the chat. If it's your first time, you can just mention first. So Vijaya says first. Yes, first time, first time. Oh, wow, wonderful. So many first timers here. Second, first. All right, great. I can see quite a few of you have attended our webinars before, so I'm sure you know what I'm going to speak next. But for everyone who's new here, once again, thank you for joining us. For everyone who's come back to attend our sessions, we are very grateful and happy that you decided to join us again. So for everyone who's new here, I'll quickly tell you what we do at Simplilearn. So we help learners transform their lives by empowering themselves through digital courses. And we provide a lot of courses at Simplilearn. And currently, we have helped over 15 million learners advance their careers across 150 plus countries. And we do these through global partnerships. One thing I would like to highlight here is that right now, we are emphasizing a lot on AI. All our courses are also oriented towards AI. So you are going to be learning a lot about it in this webinar as well. And right now on your screen, you can see some of our key university and industry partners. So we partner with really reputed institutions like Michigan Professional Education, Virginia Tech, Google, Microsoft, and a lot more. Depending on the course, you can also go ahead and check our key partners. So for anyone wondering about the learning experience you can expect with us, these numbers highlight some important aspects for us because most of our learners have reported a 50% salary hike on completion of courses with us. And we've also been rated 4.8 out of 5 by most of our learners, which clearly talks about the kind of learning experience you can expect. And not just through our courses, but also through webinars like these. So with that, I think all of you have a fair understanding of Simplilearn and what we do. And as promised, I did not take much of your time introducing us. So, coming to one of the best parts for me as a speaker, we have Basil joining us today. I'm really happy to introduce him. We've done webinars before, but I'll quickly introduce Basil to all of you. I'm sure a few of you would have attended his webinars before. So Basil is a senior manager in data analytics and engineering and currently leads analytics consulting initiatives across reporting, visualization, automation, and data domains. What makes today's especially exciting is that Basil works directly on scalable enterprise analytics solutions. So the techniques and workflows you will see today are grounded in real world implementation. So you are learning from someone who has done this in the real world, who's working on this full time. He's also deeply involved in training and mentoring as aspiring data professionals, which means that he has a great ability to simplify complex concepts. And that is exactly what we look for in workshops like these. So I'm sure everyone's waiting to hear from you, Basil. So once again, welcome to the webinar and please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for the kind introduction. Glad to be here. So my name is Basil Daklala, and as the introduction stated, I've been working with data for years and years and years, but currently leading data analytics, data engineering, and data science teams to build reports and build predictive models that we produce and we deliver to our end users. So mainly focus on healthcare, but I've also worked with different companies to provide consultation. And along with that, I partner with Simplilearn to teach students and learners classes about data analytics, data engineering, and machine learning.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Basil. I see a few comments about someone saying that they've not received the recording. We'll check with the team and get back to you on that. And let me take you to the next part. Before we dive in, I have a quick update for all of you. So we have a data science toolkit for all of you, but to receive that, you will have to stay to the very end. And this will not be sent to your email ID or anything. We will be showing you a QR. You can scan the QR and you will get access to the resource right away if you stay with us till the very end. So we really hope you all stay tuned for a very wonderful workshop today. I'm just gonna quickly set context for what we are going to do today. And before we begin, I want all of us to think about this for a second. That most analysts and teams today are incredibly skilled, but a huge part of their time is still spent on repetitive reporting tasks, like it's mentioned on the screen, copy pasting, fixing spreadsheet issues, and a lot more. And the problem here is that when so much time goes into managing data, very little time is left for actually using data to make smarter decisions. And that's exactly why today's workshop is important. And we are sure that you guys will also be working on some amount of reporting, and that's why you are here. So with that, I think I will pass it on to you, Basil. Could you quickly tell our audience what we're going to build today in this workshop and what they can expect in the next 3 hours with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to reiterate what you just mentioned is that today we know that there is high demand for insights, for reports, high demand for producing things in a batch way per se, and uh, automation is very important. Automation is one of the most important skills, I would say, in the career of an automation individual, or I would say like data analyst, data engineer, even for machine learning engineers, because with the complexity of the data, the volume of the data that we capture on a daily basis, even we want to avoid the manual effort. We want to have processes that can do the manual work for us and automate that. And mainly because of the risk that you just mentioned, that we have a few problems. Number one is it's costly, right? Time is money. We all know that. And then number two, we want to reduce or minimize the human error as much as possible, especially for a repetitive task. And then number three it's a lot more efficient. You can also apply regulations. You can apply security because you can do some QA checks, which we're going to talk about. QA, just for the ones that are not familiar with it, stands for quality assurance. So that is a very important step in making sure that the report is ready for production. So to talk about what we're going to be building today, it's an exciting project. We're going to be building stock market portfolios, so investment portfolios per se, or to speak. So I've got a data set that we're going to be working on. As you can see, the first process, we have our planning and design. So we'll talk about what exactly we're trying to build and the challenges we're going to come across. The purpose here is I want to walk you through the true life cycle of the project, not just the shiny stuff where we can jump in and start building. No, there are some steps that are involved, business-oriented steps. This is where you have to make sure that you're focusing on the exact requirements. You're not going outside the scope of the project, and then you're having a sound plan so you don't go in different directions. And once we have that, we need to understand what data elements we have at hand. That way we can focus on what we call the data engineering step. And I'll expand on this. We can also look into some questions just based on how much knowledge the audience has with data engineering. But just briefly, data engineering is a field, or you can call, there are individuals who call themselves data engineers, work. These individuals work on the data. They work on what we call data pipelines for data integration, for data manipulation, preparation, etc. And with that, we're going to be working on enriching the data, adding more detail and depth to the data. So once we have that, we're also going to do some quality checks just because in case there are some issues at the beginning of the data set, we want to address those as soon as possible. Because once we start deriving more information on top of it, if there are mistakes, there are errors, then that's going to be not the best outcome. And then after that, we're going to look into some EDA techniques just so we can explore the data further, get some ideas of what we want to build in these reports. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to automate building reports, individual reports for the users, for their investment accounts, and also having like an executive level review or report for all the portfolios altogether. So it's a holistic approach of leveraging analytics to understand where the investment firm stands at, and then where the individuals that are investing in that investment firm stand at as well. And then there's a fun part here. We're going to be leveraging an LLM, which stands for large language model. This is the generative AI piece to develop a narrative. So we're not just reporting on the existing information, we're also leveraging generative AI to produce a summary, a narrative that help the user or whoever is reading the report interpret the information. Then finally, we'll get into the technical part with building the PDF. And the final piece here is testing and distribution. I'll teach you about different ways how to look into the report. You can either produce an HTML or produce a PDF. And with that, you have the option either to something open in your browser, or you can actually have the PDF as a file. That way you can send it via email or put it on a shared drive. That's what a lot of companies do nowadays. But this is basically our plan from A to Z.
Thank you so much, Basil. Now that we have a clear understanding of what we're going to build, I think another very important aspect is the tools that we will be using in this workshop. So, Basil, could you quickly tell our audience what tools we'll be using? And I've got a few questions if the tools we're going to be using are free or not. So it would
Yeah.
be great if we could see them.
Yeah, so everything we'll be using is free. Now, there's one tool that has limitation, actually two tools, and I'll expand on this as I go through these. But let's start from the top. We've got Python. We'll be using Python, any version that's 3 and up, in most cases should work. I personally prefer one of the latest versions, that is 3.11. We're going to be using Report Lab, which is a PDF generation library. We'll be using Pandas so we can do the data wrangling and preparation. And Pandas is going to be our core library to make sure the data is ready for production. Also, when we want to do our EDA, now we'll introduce additional libraries for visualization, for example, when we want to build visuals in our research. And then Jupyter, that is Jupyter Notebooks. It's when we say Jupyter Notebooks, for the ones that are familiar, they think of Anaconda, but right now, Anaconda is not the only product for Jupyter. There are different products out there, and there are free options. So you can either consider using VS Code or consider using Google Colab. That's what we're going to be using today. They're all free tools, and they are interactive notebooks that allow you to build a project and do research as you go with it. And then we have Y Finance. We're going to be pulling some stock market data. Now, this tool may have some limitations. I think they let you probably submit about 1,000 requests per day, which is a big number. But if you want to do something, you want to scale much, much bigger, you want to consider getting the subscription from Yahoo Finance. And then back to Google Colab also for batch processing or mass scale reporting. You want to also consider buying the Google subscription because Google Colab has a free tier and it may have some limitations based on the volume. And then finally, we'll be using generative AI APIs. I'll be using Hugging Face platform to introduce the generative AI piece and generate those insights or summaries for the portfolios.
Right. Thank you for giving us so much clarity on the tools we will be using in this workshop. I have one quick question for you, Basil. Why are we choosing Python with this? Why is that better when compared to everything else that's out there?
Awesome. Before we even begin with talking about this, I would love to hear from the audience. How many of you are familiar with Python in general or have heard of Python? Let's just maybe give it a minute and it'll help me understand the level of background. Okay, I see some thumbs up. We have intermediate, familiar, no expert. Okay, heard of it, never used it. Yeah. Okay. So as I see more responses, so it looks like some of you we have big mixed background, which is okay. Some of you never used it before. Some of you have used it a little bit. I would say this will be helpful to both, right? And at the end of the day, we'll talk about the course that it also can support some of these concepts that I'm going to explain today. But for the ones that are not familiar with Python at all, or the technicals or the technical technologies I'm going to be using today, uh, just feel free to ask questions. Happy to answer and expand further. Just try to always look at it on a high level. Certain things are going to be a bit overwhelming with the code, but that's okay. Just try to understand the mechanism behind it more than anything, right? Don't try to dive deep into the code and try to memorize certain elements. Just try to understand how we're going to put these pieces together. Okay. So, let's see. Yeah, I think we have enough responses. With that being said, let's talk about why Python is ideal for this project. Well, number one, Python is right now the easiest language to learn. So for someone who is new to the field in data engineering, machine learning, data science, etc., there are different career options that you can have. Having Python is one of the most important tools, and especially if you're trying to get into the field, it is the easiest for you to be able to start working with data. We have what we call libraries. Those are extensions that expand Python's capabilities, and they can handle tough data tasks with minimum core code compared to other programming languages. If you guys are familiar with C++ or familiar with Java, for example, okay? And then it's a very collaborative code or language because teams can work faster, have fewer errors, and collaborate. The language is easy to integrate and merge between different projects or contributors. And then specifically for automation and generative AI, a lot of these generative AI libraries, you can easily pull their capabilities and be able to start using them to generate information like summary, translation, categorization, you name it. All the generative AI tasks that you see and witness when you use ChatGPT, those could be easily used or pulled or leveraged using Python. So that's a very important piece here in our project. And then on top of it is the automation. So it can help us with automating repetitive tasks. Okay. Will help us with gathering data, preparing the data at ease. I don't have to worry about running calculations manually for every row, like in Excel, or I have to do copy paste. You can automate most of the stuff, and then you can really build neat and ready-made reports from just one script or one spot. Now, I like to break down my code into multiple scripts sometimes, but today I'm keeping it into one just so we can manage the code and just make things easy to navigate through.
Right. Thank you for explaining that, Basil. Now we have an idea as to why we are using Python. And before we get into the live workshop, I just want to quickly ask you about the process that we're going to follow today, so everyone has a good idea on what they can expect in the coming hours.
Yep, absolutely. So I will start with this diagram, but then we're going to revisit that at the end just so we can wrap up and conclude what we've done so far. So the goal here is start with messy data per se or incomplete data, enrich the data, add more elements to it so it can be prepared and ready for our report, and then finally build the reports. So we start with stage number one. That is the data ingestion. We want to load raw CSV data using pandas. And then stage number two, we're going to clean or prepare the data. That's where we take a look at errors, if there are any, and we fix them, right? Using Python pandas. And then we can, if there's an opportunity to enrich or derive more information on top of the data, we could do that. And then stage number three, we'll transform this data for the reporting layer per se. And this is where we are going to compute the KPIs. KPIs are important. Think of these as like metrics or callouts, okay? So KPI stands for key performance indicators. And these are important in the business, in the industry, because they give a high level summary or conclusion. And then we're going to do some data aggregation. I'll talk about what data aggregation means shortly, and I'll give you an example. So at every stage where I'm going to explain the concept, I'll give you a simple example, then I can give you the full code. That way you understand how the process works in the high level for the ones who are new to this, and then we'll jump into the complex piece of it.
Right.
And then we'll build some charts. Yeah, go ahead.
No, please complete. I just wanted to
Yeah,
respond to one.
sure. Yeah, so stage number four, we're going to build some visualizations. We may use these visualizations on our report, or we may use it as a way to inspect our data. Okay, and I'll talk about that shortly. And then finally, another enrichment stage is to leverage generative AI to add a narrative or an explanation to each portfolio or the overall investment bucket. And finally, exporting or building these PDF reports so they can be distributed to customers or to executives.
Uh, right. So thanks for explaining all the stages, Basil. Now we have clarity on that and we can get into the workshop. I just want to address some quick comments that I saw. If you are facing any issues regarding the audio is clear to all of us? I can hear Basil clearly. So please try to rejoin the webinar if you're facing some issue in your end. All right. And for everyone asking about the certificate, the recording over and over again, let me tell you, you will have to stay till the end to receive the poll, and you can fill up the poll to receive all your certificate recording, slide deck, and all of that. So with that, I think it's time for us to get into the workshop. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and over to you, Basil.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So again, what we want to do, I want to explain. I'll start off with pulling up whiteboard so we could use, so we could technically use this just to build like a short draft, right? Is of what we're trying to build here. So I'm gonna try to launch and start drawing. But basically what we're trying to do is that we have a data set. So let's say we have a data set right here, and this data set is going to contain a few fields, right? So this is what we call raw data. This raw data contains basically some elements that are useful. And then from there, I'm going to use these elements. First of all, we're going to inspect these elements, but then we're going to use them um, to derive additional elements that will make the report more insightful. Okay, so and this is a very, very typical process. What we do at work and in a lot of different companies is that you start with raw data. Not It's not the case where you always find data that's ready to build for your report or you leverage it in your report. So you have to spend good amount of time with what we call feature engineering and pre-processing. Okay. So if I want to add another stage here, I would say inspection for errors. Okay. And then if there are any problems, right? So like if you have, let's say, I'll add, this is what we call in data flow diagrams, we call this like a decision diamond. And this is a good opportunity for you to learn also how you can brainstorm and put the ideas into, let's say, a diagram that you can use for yourself to track. And then the other advantage is you can use it to share it with your end user or stakeholders so they can understand the process. So we can put like a question here, data ready, okay, or clean. And if the answer is yes, then we can proceed with production. I probably need to change this um, to another square. So notice that I'm trying to differentiate between diamond and square. So if the data is clean, and I'm going to put a comment yes here, then we can go into the data enrichment process. Okay. And this is where we derive, we call it feature engineering. That's another name for it. Okay. So we add features that are engineered and derived from the data. Now, if the process says no, I'm gonna probably change this into a square. If the process says no here, then we need to do data cleansing and wrangling. Okay. So this will help us prepare and clean our data. Then we go back into this diamond right here. So what's happening now is think of this as a feedback loop or feedback or a loop for this process until we get it ready. So if we're going to follow the diagram or the flow, we have raw data, inspection for errors, and then we get the data, clean data cleansing stage. We question if there are any issues. If we find some issues, like let's say, for example, missing information or duplicates, and we clean the data. Is the data clean? Yes. So once we come back to this diamond, is the data clean? We ask the question again. Yes, then we are ready for data enrichment. Okay. So what we're trying to use here is what we want to do is we want to basically add another thing. I'm going to put a cloud here because we're going to be using Yahoo Finance to add information to enrich the data. And this will be with data enrichment. This is kind of sort of the process that comes with it, right? With Yahoo Finance. And I'll say here data is ready for pre-processing. And or I would say data is ready for report building. So we'll do the enrichment of the data. Here we can get from Yahoo Finance financial data. Okay. And from here, what we want to do, we want to also add another component here. That's going to be the narrative, add a portfolio, or let me spell this, portfolio narrative. Okay, this is going to be also from a cloud service, and that's going to host our generative AI. So using, okay, this one is going to be from Hugging Face community, and I'll walk you through that shortly. Okay, which is going to give me the LLM, and just put this one here. Okay, so this is going to give me the data, and then finally, once we have all of these elements, we'll just put the stage of generate PDFs. Now, this is an oversimplification of the process, but you'll see in the code, high level, this is how the process works. Okay, so let's go ahead and trace back our steps and make sure that we've mentioned everything here, right? So we have raw data, inspection for errors, because we want to make sure the data is ready, data is clean. If it's not clean, then we do the data cleansing or wrangling process. Then we come back to the decision diamond again. If the data is clean and ready, then it's yes. So we go to data enrichment or feature engineering. We've got Jay Dinda asking, what is a feature? A feature is basically a column. Okay, so put here column engineering. So think of this as like a column or an element in your data. It's a machine learning or data science term. It's also used in analytics. So and then after this step, we have the data is ready for report building. So what we want to do is we want to add financial data, and then we add portfolio narrative using generative AI, and then finally generate the PDFs. And I want to be specific here. Tabular data is ready for report building because it's not ready yet until the full data set's not ready yet until we have the portfolio narrative added. Okay, so you've got the system built and put together. This is nice. This is a good way. I'm a visual person, so this is a very good way to communicate to your project, to track your project. You can also make sure that you have all of your components ready before you start coding. So I always recommend doing something like this before you commit to building the code. And let's put here LM. That's what we're trying to pull for here. Okay, so here's the element, and I think you can export this to a PDF. So we should be able to share that with you. Okay. Now, let's go to the next step. So I think, Swetha, you're able to export PDF for this one, right? Do you want to check?
Yeah.
Should be able, I see the option here. If you can't export it and share it with everyone, I can export it on my end and I'll share it with you if possible. Or I can upload it maybe to Zoom session. Maybe that's easier even. Let's see if that's doable here. Yep. So I can upload it here if that works. There you go. And I just uploaded to our Zoom session. So you should have it here. Okay.
Basil, I think you've
Um,
shared it to only hosts and panelists. The setting is to hosts and panelists. Can you change the setting to everyone and share it?
yeah, let me do that. Yeah, good point. So go here. Okay. I think now it's sent to everyone, so that should work.
Yes.
All right, great. So with that being said, let's move on to talk about the technologies we're going to be working with. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to go here. And this is going to close the whiteboard, and we're going to move on to my monitor here. Let me get a quick confirmation. Can you see my Google screen right here?
Yes.
Yeah. So the first piece that we're going to do is we're going to head over to Google Colab. Okay. So if you just look up Google Colab is a community, it's a platform, it's a product that you can use to start building your projects and your Python projects. So in order for you to um, work on Google Colab, you need to have a Gmail or a Google account. So after you create your Google account, you can simply click on this here. You'll see this platform. We're going to create a new notebook. And from there, we can start working on our project. And you can name your project already. So we can call this live demo. And I'll share this link with everyone. That way you can see it live. And after the session, we can definitely share that link. So yeah, we'll call this live demo portfolio report building and automation. All right, and then we can give it a date. So 2026, 5/28. Okay. So starting off with this platform, if you're not familiar with it, on the right side, you can see that you have an LLM that can help you with code. I'm going to be showing you this. Typically, I try to build the code myself as much as possible. But again, even for me being with Python, working with Python for a long time, you can't memorize every little functionality. So leverage this as much as you can, just so you can generate tidbits of code, and you can also get ideas of how to build things. So I'm going to show you how you could use this along with building the process. Now, this process, the way it works is that you upload your data to this notebook. You have a folder, you have a directory right here on the left. You saw I clicked on the folder, and you can see the directory. I can upload notebooks to it, or I can upload the data, code, anything you need for your project, basically. And once you upload your data here, you are able to use it with Python. Okay. And this is what we call cells. So this is a Jupyter notebook with cells. Every cell, you can put a code, and you can create as many cells as you want. So you can see here, I'm creating multiple cells. Okay. And you can create also text cells. So for example, this will help you manage your project and clean and keep it organized. So what we're going to do is we're going to put like a title here, and we're going to say portfolio automation, report automation. We'll say portfolio insights and report automation, because we're going to build some insights on top of it, just we can observe the data and see what's going on. You can also document your steps here. So I'm going to say steps, just like what we did, is that we're going to import libraries, and then we're going to import the data, right? Raw data, to be more specific. We said we're going to inspect the data. And then 4, we're going to enrich data. And 5, we'll start with EDA, stands for exploratory data analysis. And 6, we'll go with data prep for reporting, and then building the report finally. Okay. Now this step probably is already done in enriching the data, but I'm putting it here as a placeholder in case we have anything sort of like a catch-all at the end. This is going to be building the report. When we say enriching the data, we want to also talk about the derive calculations. I can even make this as a sub-bullet. So we're going to derive calculations, and then we're going to get stock market data. And then for the EDA or the data prep, data prep for reporting, finally, that's the missing piece. So it's going to be embed GenAI in it. Okay. So that's pretty much the gist of the project. I know I've mentioned a lot. I can pause here to see if you guys have any questions. We can maybe answer quick questions right now. I'll take a look at the chat. Is there anything that you can see on your end?
Yeah,
See
there
here.
are a few questions. Some of them were not able to download the PDF. I can share it with you all after the webinar as well, if that's the case. And there's a question from T. Williams. He's asking, what system are you in? I missed it trying to download the PDF.
It's called Google Colab. So you can look it up here. I sent you the message, what it's called. So just Google this, called Google Colab, and then it'll take you to the right link. Just click on the first option. Now, again, you need to have a Google account. So either Gmail or standard Google account works. Yeah. All
Yeah, I
right.
think
Now,
those were most of the questions were regarding both of that. So I think we addressed all the questions.
okay, great. All right. So what we're going to do is we want to import the libraries. So what are libraries? Libraries are basically, think of these as components, attachments that you can add to your project that will expand Python's capability. Okay, so we're going to import a few libraries. We'll start with importing NumPy as NP. This is for numerical calculations. And we're going to do import pandas as PD. This is for data analysis and data wrangling. Okay, we're going to import matplot library.pyplot as PLT. This is for visualization. Okay, and for now, we'll talk about the report building libraries. It's actually a bunch, so we'll talk about those once we cross that bridge. But for now, let's import another component called datetime that we're going to be using for our date functionality, or let's say date data manipulation. Okay. Okay. And then finally, we'll import Yahoo Finance. So we're going to say import Y Finance as YF. So what I'm doing here is I'm getting an alias attached to the library. Okay. This will make things a lot easier. Instead of mentioning the full library name, you just mention the alias. And these are the standard aliases. Okay. So these are my libraries. Now, once you start the program, you can run it here. You see the play button. Once you start this, it is going to initiate the operating system behind the notebook or the server. And now you're ready to start building stuff, okay? Now, what I want to do, just define a few things. I want to also define my input file, okay? And again, for the ones that are new to Python, so far we're just starting with simple stuff. Don't focus too much on the syntax, just focus on what we're doing step by step, right? So now I'm going to use the input file, and my input file is called portfolio data. And this is what my input file is called. Now, if you end up having a different file name, this is where you can edit it in one place. That way you do not have to do it in multiple spots. Okay, and then the output file for the data, this is when the data after the data is prepared. Okay, we're going to call this portfolio data, similar name, final. And again, this is going to be after data enrichment and wrangling. And this is going to be our raw data. All right. So I'm defining variables. This is how we define variables in Python for the ones that are new to Python. So you see, I'm associating this object with this name. Okay. And I don't have the files ready yet, so I need to upload that file so we can see it. So how do we do that? We go here to this folder, and I'll need to click on this upload button. It may pop up in my other window. So we're gonna go ahead in here. I just uploaded it. All you have to do is just you get a pop-up window that says choose the file. So it's just straightforward. And I chose the file, and you can upload it right here. You can see it says portfolio data.csv. So this is a CSV file. CSV stands for comma separated values. That file basically is a data file that has the columns separated by commas. That's how it reads the file. That's how the system reads the file. So now that we ran this, we created a new cell. You can, by the way, create a new cell. If you see here at the center, it says plus code and plus text. We're creating code for now. And I'm going to put actually a title here, and I'll call this step 1, steps 1 and 2. Basically, because we're importing the raw data. Okay, we're importing the data and we're importing the raw data. So I'm going to call this, we'll call it raw data frame. In pandas, you call the data set a data frame. Okay, so that's what it's called. So we have raw data frame. Okay, and we'll upload the data set shortly. I haven't uploaded it yet. Maybe I can upload it in the Zoom chat for now. Let me do that real quick because I just saw a question about it. So let me actually upload it now before I forget. Okay, so you have it uploaded. It's in Zoom, so you can use it. Okay, and now that we have the raw data, we can inspect and take a look at it. So we're going to use pandas. We're going to read CSV because this is a CSV file. All right, and then instead of me putting the name of the file, I can put the variable that is attached to the file. Again, we're trying to automate things. We're trying to make things efficient. So we want to use variables where they can be used in multiple places instead of having text value repeated everywhere. Because now, if I reference this input file in multiple locations, as long as I have the right file name, we're good to go. So this is going to import the data. Okay. You can see I get a check mark here. That means the import is successful. And I'm going to go raw.underscore data frame. And we want to take a look at a sample of the data. So this will show me a sample of the data. Better yet, there's another function called sample in pandas. So we'll say sample And let's take a look at a sample of 10. That way we can understand our data, right? So this is where you do your inspection and, let's call it like high-level inspection. You want to take a look at your data and you want to assess what's missing. Okay, so we'll say here, assess based on the objective. Okay, so let's put a clue here. In this step, we assess what's needed to complete the data set for the objective, which is building a PDF report. Okay, so what do we need? First of all, let's take a look at the data. We have our portfolio IDs, that's good. We have our stock symbols. You know, it says here some of them like NVIDIA, Palantir, all these stocks. And then we have the quantity, which is good to have stock sector purchase price. So what are we missing here? Okay. Well, we're basically missing the current price. So we need the add current price. Okay. For our objective, we need the current stock price. Okay. We want to calculate this is going to be from Yahoo Finance. We're going to calculate a few elements. So we're going to calculate the performance percentage. Okay. So how did I perform in my investment, right? So we want to calculate that. And we can also look into other things. We can add current stock price. I'm going to start using the names current price and 1, 3, and 5-year performance. So we're going to look into the performance of these stocks over the years. Okay. And then we're going to calculate the performance, the investment, the portfolios. Can't spell it now. Portfolios performance. And yeah, I think that's it for now. And then eventually we'll work on the rest of the stuff. But before we do that, let's work on so now we're at step 3 and 4. Okay, step 3 and 4. So we're gonna go here and I'll put a header. And how am I putting these headers? I'm using what we call the markdown language. Okay. So markdown language is going to help me get these notes and add titles and organize my notebook. So I'm using double hashtags. This is for the heading. So we're going to say steps 3 and 4. Okay, so just like what we did, steps 1 and 2, we have steps 3 and 4. Our notebook is organized with these sections. I think K6, Ashok, saying we also require the data purchase to calculate the performance. And we can have it, but I don't think it's necessary at this point. We just have the purchase price, right? So we can just simply calculate quantity multiplied by purchase price. And if we calculate today's price, that should be enough for us to get the performance. All right, so now that we have steps 3 and 4, we started with this. Let's do the inspection, okay? Because that is the data quality assurance, right? So we're going to do, I'll put here, we'll start with the data quality assurance. That is short for DQA. So we're giving you here some industry terminology. Oh, you're familiar with it. So we'll start with data quality. So what can we check for? Now we can check for a few things, right? We can check for, we'll start with row counts, row and column counts. So we can use a function called shape. So I want to say here, if I do raw data dot shape, that's going to give me the number of rows and columns that I have available. So we can say here, we can put this into a like a descriptive format. So I'm going to say print, and we can say data count of rows and columns. Okay. So I'm putting this as a descriptive way to just explain count of rows and columns. And if I run this, now the count of rows and columns is 2006. So this is respectively, right? So you have rows first and then columns next. So that means 6 columns and 2000 rows. So that's basically part of even the automation piece. If you think about it, when we want to run this on a different or brand new data set, okay, we want to automate this as much as possible. So instead of me hard coding the number of rows and columns, let's say I use a different data set that has 5,000 rows. Now this conclusion is going to be automated. It's going to always show me the correct number for the data that I import if I import a different data set in the future. Okay, so that's first piece of data inspection. We can do other things. So what we want to do is check for nulls. Missing data is a problem, right? If we have missing information, that could be a problem because we're not gonna have complete reports. We're gonna have an issue, right? So check for nulls. That means missing data. And the second piece, we're gonna check for duplicates. Okay. Now we'll say here, if nulls exist, drop or impute, which means replace them with a sound value. Okay, and then we'll check for duplicates. This is going to be if duplicates, nulls exist. So we're gonna, if duplicates exist, drop them. Okay, so same thing, we drop. We can't replace duplicates. Obviously, they're just a duplicate, right? And we don't need them. We don't want to report on repetitive information. That's the gist of it. That's the goal here. Okay, so how do we check for nulls? Now, what we could do is we can say, we can grab our data frame, raw data frame, and we have a nice function called isNA that checks for nulls, okay? And we can add sum, which is going to summarize the nulls for me, right? The count of nulls. And I'm seeing zeros for all, okay? So I'm seeing 0 from all, and we can put a conclusion here. We have no nulls. Or if we want to do this even better, we can automate this just like what I said here, right? So we can print, say print. And in order for me to get just the overall count, we can do another dot sum. So we'll say we have, and I'm going to use a functionality in Python called f string. So you start just with f here, and then you can put variables inside it, and then you can put like the variable in curly brackets. So we're going to say we have X amount of nulls, so that's going to be dot sum here, okay? And I want to convert this into an integer, so we have to wrap this here and just make it as an integer, right? Let me test this real quick. So we have 0, which is true. We have 0 nulls or missing values in this data set. So take a look at my output now, right? It summarized what I have here, which means that we don't have any missing values. It's very good. It's a very good thing to have because it's a headache to deal with missing information. But there are techniques, and you'll learn some of these techniques in some of our courses. So we're saying here we have 0 nulls, missing values in this data set, okay? the sum function, I see question quickly. The sum function is just to summarize this whole thing again, okay? So this one sum will give you these elements, and then another sum will summarize the full piece, okay? And now we have zero nulls completely. Let's move on to checking for duplicates, okay? So when you want to get the duplicated count, you basically you can use a function called duplicated. Okay, so here, because this could be syntax heavy, we can actually take this component, a full complex function inside the text. I define a variable called and we can use the same syntax. I'm going to copy from this guy here. Instead of null count, we're going to say duplicate count. And then here we're going to say duplicates in this data set. So if I run this, look at that. We have 2 duplicates in this data set. Okay. So we have this number or this count of duplicates in this data set. Now, I need to probably fix the syntax here. So now, how do we drop the duplicates? There's a function in pandas, makes it easier for us to drop the duplicates. So we're going to go here. I'm going to say raw diaphragm. Do it here. Drop duplicates. Put a comment. By the way, this stuff in green, that is a comment. This is a non-executable code. It does not execute the code, basically. Okay. And we're going to say here, basically raw data frame dot drop duplicates right here. Okay. So we're going to say drop duplicates. And we want to make sure that we're dropping duplicates for the purchase price, for example, or for a specific column. So we can say subset, and we can put purchase price, which is what we can see here. This is the purchase price, right? It may have duplicate in the data. So that's what we're trying to focus on. And we'll say purchase price. And when we drop the duplicate here, we want to make sure that we're defining, we can now say clean data frame equals this. So now we are defining a new object called clean data frame. So drop duplicates and define a new object or new data set called clean df. That's what we're doing here, okay? So now if I want to take a look at my data frame just to make sure things look good, I'll use the .head function, and you can see I can also check the size of my data. Remember how we checked for shape? That gave me now 836. So you can see now I went extra with the duplicates. I should be more careful, right? So we should actually focus on dropping duplicates overall, not duplicates by the purchase price. So what happened here, this is a scenario where you may make mistakes when you're cleaning the data, right? So we want to make sure that we are not focusing on one column because some some portfolios purchase the equity in the same price. Okay, so we put here, we lost a huge volume of data. We had duplicates. We had 2 duplicates only. Okay. All right, and we need to remove subset, and that's how we can recheck our steps. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to say drop duplicates. Instead of subset, I'll just leave it as is. Okay. And if I want to check for the shape, I'll see now it's 1998. Okay. So this adds up. We had 2,000 rows with 2 duplicates gone. We get 1,998 rows. Okay, so that's basically what happened. Again, we can automate this, but just for the sake of our time, I showed you how you could do that. So just for the sake of our time, we'll skip that step, but you can automate. What I mean is just automate building this phrase. That's all. Okay, this is just a summary. But anyway, I did this intentionally, honestly. I'll put here intentional to show how mistakes can be found. I just want to show you guys, like, if you come across a problem, this is how you could basically fix it. You try to analyze, always check for your outcome, and then based on the outcome, try to take a step back, because what we did here is we redefined the data frame again. So we did not lose information. That's why it's always useful to build a new data frame or build a new data set when you take different stages. Okay, so that allows us to do such thing. Okay, so now that the data is basically ready, we want to check for um, the process. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to check on what we're missing. So right now we've enriched the data. Well, we haven't enriched the data yet, actually. We have basically cleaned up the data. We prepared it, but now we want to enrich the data. That is part of our step 4. Actually, step 3 is pretty uh, big in its own. I'm gonna take this and just make a title for step 4, an independent title for it. Okay, so again, this is step 4 based on our steps right here, outlined steps. And I'm going to go here and we're going to think about what we could do to improve the data, to enrich it. So we can start off with actually the Yahoo Finance piece, and then we can calculate the other uh, stuff. Okay, so what we could do basically is uh, start off. I'll show you a simple example how you could extract information. Now, what you need, the elements that you need. So what you need to do is you need to extract unique tickers. Okay, so these are the tickers for your data. Okay, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna build something like tickers here, and we're gonna grab our clean data frame, and then we can put in our stock symbol right here. You can see, by the way, this is a drop-down menu that helps me select the right elements in my data. So it's very helpful. It's a recommendation that comes in by default in Jupyter Notebooks. So I'm going to choose stock symbol. Okay. And I want to get the list of all unique tickers so I can grab their price so I can be efficient. Okay. And this is where we want to make sure. So extract unique tickers, make sure null tickers are dropped just in case. We already checked earlier. This is just in case. Okay. So what we could do is just drop NA again. Okay, we can say drop NA again. And now we can use the function called unique. That will give me unique list, and then we can convert it to a list. So I want to show you here, this is powerful functionality between pandas and Python. I'm stacking functions on top of each other. Okay, so let's take a look at our tickers, unique list of tickers now. We'll run this, and there you go. So now you have our tickers, right? And someone is asking, what exactly is a ticker? It's basically the symbol behind the stock. Okay, so every stock in the stock market has a ticker. It has a symbol that you can use to call in the stock information. For example, uh, Asif, I think your name, you can go here, WMT. If you go to Google and just say, not Google Gemini, just Google. And if you go to Google and you say Walmart stock price. So this is the ticker right here, WMT. When I run this, you'll see the stock price right now. Okay, so you can see that you have a stock price. How did I find it? By the ticker, WMT right here. Okay, so I hope that was helpful for you and others that are not sure about what ticker means. Okay, so using the ticker, I want to extract financial information. Okay, now let's try to um, calculate basically the timeline. What I want to do is, because we want to extract, so because we need to extract current price, okay, and 1, 3, and 5 year prices or performance, right? We need to define the time frame, okay? Define time frames. Now this part is a little bit advanced, but it's just nice to have here. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using the date time library that you saw I imported right here. Okay, so we're going to go here and I'm going to basically define a few things. Current year, okay, and we're going to say date time dot, and I want to extract the current year. So I use now function here, dot year. Okay, so I run this. Now I have the current year ready. Okay, so you run this, you see it's 2026. Okay, and then you want to extract year-to-date start. That way you can put these markers, right? So you put timestamp right here, and you have timestamp function, and then that's where you can put a string value of the current year. And then you can concatenate with 0, 1, and 0, 1. So what I'm basically doing is I grabbed the current year and then I built a year-to-date start. So now if you see, it gives me 2026, January 1st. That is my year-to-date start marker. Okay. Now, if I want to get the other calculations, which is going to be 3 years ago, let's say we're gonna do some timestamp subtraction with time delta. So I'll put a note here. We'll use time delta to subtract the time period from today. Okay, so 3 years ago is going to be same thing. Use PD timestamp, but inside it you do the calculation. So you're gonna do same thing with date time now. You grab it here. Instead of capturing just the year, we want to capture the full date. Okay, and then you subtract time delta, and this is where you can specify the number of days. Okay, and you can, for 3 years, you'll say 3 times 365. Okay, and that will give you 3 year span. And if you want to do 5 years, I can just literally copy this whole component. I can say 5 years ago, and we'll put it here, and we'll change this to 5. Okay, and if I want to inspect all of this stuff, I can say print 3 years ago and 5 years ago. Oops, I think it copied an extra one. 1 second. So 3 years ago and then 5 years ago. That's how we print these two. And as you can see, 3 years ago is 2023, May 29th, which makes sense. And then you have May 29th, 2021. That is 5 years ago. Okay, so that is going to give me the time span. All right. Now, what I want to do is I want to do the bulk download. Okay, so I want to grab the bulk download to get the price data. Okay, so I want to grab the price data. So how do I do that? I can go here and I can say prices, okay? And we're going to be using the Yahoo Finance library that I just imported, and we'll say download. And what we can do is we can say ticker. Okay, these are going to be the tickers that I just defined. I'm not coming up with stuff. Just these are the tickers that we just put together, right? So we have tickers, okay? And then we're going to say start equals 5 years ago. Okay, that is going to be the largest time span. So, well, for efficiency, put it here as a note. So for efficiency, we'll bulk download historical data for with the longest time span or period, okay, which is 5 years. So anyway, so what I'm saying here is we'll say 5 years ago, that's the start, and then the end is going to be what? Today, right? You don't have to mention, and by default, it takes that, right? And you need a few things like auto adjust equals true, okay? And you can say progress. These are just parameters that help you get the data as you need it. So we're going to say progress equals false. I want to add something here where 5 years ago, it takes a string value. So we can do here dot string value. So we're going to convert it into string format. So this is a format compatible um, with Yahoo Finance. And then we're going to do percent day. So that's going to be my percent day. So this is compatible with Y Finance. Okay. All right. So we're going to run prices. Now, finally, what I want to do is I want to get the close price. Okay. So I'll put here closing price. If you're not familiar with closing price, this is basically the price when the market's ended, okay, or the market closed, not ended. You don't want it to end, honestly. But anyway, so we have and closing price, okay? So now that we have this process, it's downloading the data for me, okay? And it captures the prices. I can take a look at the prices data. And you can see it's a data frame. So now I can just take a look at the first 10 values, not necessarily the full columns. But you can see now I have the historical data. Okay. So this is the daily historical data for all of these stocks, Apple, AbbVie, Amazon, these based on the ticker. So it's very nice functionality, and it's very helpful when you are trying to extract information in bulk load. So we're trying to be very, very efficient here with our process. Okay. Let's see how we're doing on time. Let's see. I think we're good for now. Maybe we can take a break in about 5 minutes. Does that work? Or yeah. All right. Um, so now that we downloaded the data, what we want is we want to basically automate this whole process. Okay. So to save you time, I've got the code that I worked on. And honestly, all I did here is I put the loop together, and I'll explain what a loop does. And I actually use the help of generative AI to fill in some of the blanks. So you can use generative AI to help you add additional functionality for things like raising the error. I'll give you an example of a prompt. So I'll put here the code below automates the process, the rest of the process, and with the help of the of generative AI, example, you have ChatGPT, you have Gemini, right? You have all of these tools. Either way, we can improve our code and make it handle errors. Okay. So, for example, I'll give you an example prompt here. So this is after building, we call it like a skeleton code. Okay. So you can say, use the skeleton code below to improve the process, making it efficient and handle errors, okay? And automated. So making it efficient and automated with error handling. Let's make it more descriptive, with error handling. And once I built the skeleton, I got so I put it here for you. That way you can, and then I'll put like a place your pseudocode here. So that is the prompt pretty much. Okay. So once I did that, I ended up having the full process. Let me copy it from my notes and I'll show you what it is and what it does. So right here. So this is going to efficiently pull the information for me. Okay. And I need to make sure that let me make sure I have all the elements here. And I'll walk you through this real quick and then we can take a break. See here. All right. So we have the code here. Let me break it down for you. This one is going to handle the single ticker case. Okay. So this is in case you have a single ticker and you have the price for it. So you can add the information to it. But if you have multiple tickers, you can basically add that price because you have portfolios that bought multiple tickers, right? So, or you have multiple portfolios with the same ticker. So that's what we're trying to handle here. And then as usual, using our lovely drop nulls function, right? We're starting with the loop. So notice my loop says for every ticker inside the tickers list that we have here, which is right here, this list, I'm going to automate and build this process through every ticker. And we're using exception handling. So this is a little bit advanced for Python. I highly recommend reading on it and watching tutorials, or you can take our course. It'll help you understand these processes. But basically, this will help me check if the no price history is available, not to error out or break the program, just skip it and move on to the next stock. Okay, this is in case the data is missing. So it runs through this. It also performs the following. It gets the current price, okay? And then you want to calculate the return. This is basically the performance function, okay, that is applied on every marker. And because we have year to date, 3 year, and 5 years. And then from here, what you're doing, you're calculating fraction. You have current price divided by the period, okay? And then you multiply by 100, so you can get the percentage. So some math, some arithmetics here, and then finally you have an exception, so you can get the final data in case there are issues or errors in it. Okay, so before we run this, let's go ahead and take a break. I think we can. I'll pause here, and we can take a 10-minute break, and we can come back after.
Sure. I'll also set the timer. In the meantime, I just want to address a few questions I saw in the chat. Everyone who's asking for certificates and the recording, please note that the poll will be shared towards the end of the webinar. This is a 3-hour webinar, and we will be launching the poll close to 9 p.m. by 8:55 or so. I hope this clarifies the queries all of you may have. And I will also start a timer. I'll see you guys in 10 minutes. So by 7:37, all of you should be right. All right, so I hope everyone's back. We have 15 seconds to go, so I'm going to stop sharing this right now. And I'll just wait for everyone to join back. All right, so it's time for us to restart. I hope all of you got a very good break. We're just gonna quickly take you through something. Just give me a minute. So, before we go back to the session, we just wanted to quickly tell you all about Simplilearn's Data Analytics Certification Program. This is in collaboration with Microsoft Azure. And as you all, a few of you might have come across this course. I saw a few of you who are already a part of this course join this webinar as well. So this is a major Microsoft advantage that you all have because this is in collaboration with Microsoft, like I said earlier, and this will be an expert-led curriculum. So you will have top industry experts take classes for you, just like this one, which Basil is leading. And he is also one of our mentors, so he can definitely tell you a lot more about this in detail. And you are going to be learning a lot of tools. So we will cover all of these aspects towards the end of this webinar. But if you're thinking about data analytics as a career and you would like to stay ahead of it and learn more, we have a course for all of you, and you can stay with us till the very end to understand how this can probably help you. And Basil, you've been teaching classes for courses like these for a long time now. So, do you have any words you'd like to share with our audience?
Absolutely. So I think some of the stuff that you saw today, and I know some of it is a little bit advanced, but you got at least a sneak peek about the fun stuff that we do here, some of these projects at Simplilearn, which gives you an idea about the data field in general, whether it's data engineering, data science, or machine learning. It requires great technical knowledge and ability to handle data properly. And this course is designed to walk you through tons of examples of how you can prepare the data so you can have data-driven decision making. Because at the end of the day, you do not want to deal with messy data, right? You don't want to have false information as well or biased information. And with that, you learn about great technologies that you can add to your resume, such as Tableau for visualization, Excel. We all know Excel, but you'll learn about how you can leverage it in advanced techniques. And then SQL, which stands for Structured Query Language, that's SQL. And this is basically the common language that we use to communicate with databases and extract information. Very, very important and valuable skill along with Python. Okay. And as an additional piece of language that you want to learn about, just so you can have a well-rounded portfolio, you can learn R, which is an alternative to Python, but it has a more focus on statistics and research. And then Power BI for visualization, similar to Tableau, and a lot of other products and applications that would really enrich your resume and make you stand out.
Yes. So thank you so much, Basil, for sharing that with the audience. And I think I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we can resume with the workshop.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to share again. All right. So having this right now, I also added comments in during the break just so it can be clear for you and easily follow. Um, you could basically start from the top here of the loop. And when you want to understand how loops work, they work based on lists. They're driven by lists or a sequence. And you can perform the same operation instead of trying to, because the main function here that pulls the data is basically one of them is here and then this one. Imagine trying to repeat this to every ticker. We have 20 tickers, right? Or 20 stocks. I think it's a total of 20. We need to check that actually. Speaking of, before we even digress, let's take a look at our list of stocks. Remember how we built this list of tickers. So this is what we're trying to automate, right? So if I do length tickers, that is 23. So 23 stocks. We have a list of 23 stocks, okay? So we have a list of 23 unique stocks. Now, you don't want to run this operation manually every single time for every ticker, right? So that is another example of automation, how it's saving you time. And imagine the piece of human error because you're trying to copy paste or integrate the information step by step. It's a headache, takes time, and you are exposing yourself to making mistakes. So that's why automation is ideal. So just high level again to keep things simple, we are automating for all the tickers, and then we're using a try here. This is for exception handling. So go ahead and start pulling the data. If you can't find information, just use a blanket or an estimate of the performance. Okay. Now you can remove this piece if you wanted to and you want to get an error, but this is just so we can keep the process smooth and just give it an estimate overall. But my point here is we're automating the percentage of the return for a given start date, and we're building a custom function for it. Okay, so this is a custom function, and then we're applying this function on the market data for current price. We don't need it for current price. We basically need it for year-to-date performance. You can see here it says performance since. Here's the function, performance since. And then you have 3-year performance and 5-year performance. Okay. Now, how do we inspect the data? Well, we have a data frame now called market DF. So let's inspect the data after enrichment. We can say market DF, okay, dot head, for example, or I think we called it market data maybe. Yeah, market data right here. That's not even a data frame. We can take a look at it. It's a dictionary, actually. So this is a dictionary object. If you're not familiar with dictionaries, they are similar to data frame. They hold key information. But basically what we're seeing here is, this is the Coca-Cola KO ticker symbol for Coca-Cola. You see the current price. You see the year-to-date performance. Now this is wrapped in a NumPy number or data object. So you can ignore this, but you can see it's $81, right? That's the current price. We can check now, by the way. So if I go here and I do KO price, we got $80.95 and I got 81. I mean, it depends on when I pulled the data. We pulled the data 10 minutes ago, and keep in mind that Yahoo Finance data is 15 minutes behind. So probably we pulled the data around this. We pulled this probably this timestamp, 81.44, and we're getting 81.31. Okay, so that's a nice inspection of the data. If you want to just look at a specific segment of it, you can say print, market data, and just pull up the ticker. Pull up Apple, for example. It's AAPL. PL. I happen to memorize these tickers, but you can see, actually, I don't need the print because it puts it all in one line. Let's go ahead and run it without print. And you can see 5-year performance, okay, 3-year performance, year-to-date performance, and so on, current price. There you go. Okay, so now we have our data. So I will put a marker here. Now that we have our market data extracted, let's implement it or merge it. Let's implement into our original main data frame. Okay, we're going to add it to our main data frame. So how do we do that? It's very simple. It's a pandas functionality. Okay, and I'll put here using pandas. Let's put here. Okay. So using pandas, and we basically define these columns from scratch, right? Because remember, we have our data frame here. It's called clean DF. As a reminder, this is what it looks like. Okay. And we need to add other elements. So I need to say here, clean df, okay? Open brackets, and I'll say something like current price equals to, right? Clean df. Now I need to map it. So something to note here. I'll put it as another note. We have unique tickers with their data. The original data contains portfolios where the ticker is repeated, okay? Like repeated for multiple portfolios, if you know what I mean. Therefore, we need to map. That's the function. We need to map the data into the data frame, okay? The stock data. So that's what we're doing. So I'm going to grab my clean DF here. Oops. Right? And then instead of using current price, what are we using? We're using the ticker, right? So we're going to use the stock symbol or ticker. And then we're going to do map, right? What are we mapping? We're mapping using a lambda function. If you're familiar with lambda, this is a good opportunity to see how it works. If you're not familiar, also a good opportunity to see what it does. I'll just explain it briefly, but again, you need to definitely practice and learn Python just to understand some of these concepts. But I want you to, again, think high level about what we're doing as just components, sequence of processes or steps. So I'm going to say define X as in market data. I'm going to grab my market data with X, okay, with the current price. All I'm doing here is, let me actually minimize this window a little bit. All I'm doing here is saying, define the current price, as in you grab the stock symbol column, and then you map it based on the stock symbol name and the current price. So it's capturing the current price and stock symbol name. Now, all I have to do is just copy this and repeat it for the other metrics. So for example, year-to-date percent, okay? The 3-year percent. And we have the 5-year percent. That's the last one right here. And then I need to obviously make changes. I need to go here, okay? And I need to say, all right, well, I have the stock symbol. We grab the lambda. Instead of current price, what do I get? Same thing here, the year-to-date performance. It's called year-to-date performance. You can see it right here. Okay, so I will add it here instead of current price. And then this is for the 3-year right here. Notice how I'm copy pasting from here to here. Okay, so we're gonna go again and then 5-year performance. All right, we'll run this. It looks fine, I could think. Let's see, a value is trying to be set on a copy of a slice. Let me make sure I got the code working for me. So we're mapping lambda x market data, and we're grabbing the current price. And I think it looks fine. Let's see what we get. Stock symbol clean df. And let's see here, slice of data frame. Let's take a look at our data, and we can see this could be a good opportunity to see how we could use. Looks like it worked. So I can see here that I have current price. Okay. I see the year-to-date performance, 3 years and all that. So I think we're good. This is just a caveat or a warning, right? So it's just asking to use this instead, but that's okay. We can try to ask, we can ask our, um, This is a good opportunity to show you how you can use generative AI to improve your code. So we can click on the pencil here. You can see it. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to say transform code. And you can see here it did attach the code for me. And I'm going to say adjust the code based on the recommendation in the output caveat. Okay. So let's see what it's going to do. It may work, it may not. We'll see. It's smart. It's pretty smart sometimes, but we'll see how it goes. If not, we can be more descriptive with the message here. Okay, looks like, let me see. See, it's how it's showing you my code and then the new code. It looks like that's what it's looking for. There you go. It did use the loc function, which is a location by index function and column. So I'm going to run this. Well, actually, you can click accept and run. So you click accept and run, and let's take a look at our data frame. Notice that the warning is gone. So we're going to run this. Okay. And it looks good. It's same output, but again, we just got rid of the warnings. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to do undo, just copy this, and then we're going to redo. Just do here. And I'm going to say, and put it as like a text note, code below works, but gave uh, a warning. And I'm just placing the simple code for you without that suggested fix right here. What I did, by the way, I wrapped it with ticks. That makes the code block non-executable. So it just does not execute the code block. It avoids it. But I put it here just for your record so you can have it. Okay. So now that we have the clean data frame, I think we're good to go. And so we can already see the prices, the current price year to date, all that stuff. This is all nice. Now we want to do additional enrichment, right? What I want to do is um, add additional metrics, like we want to calculate total cost, right? So we can go here and add. Next, we derive total cost. We need, yeah, total cost and current value of the holding. Okay. Also, we can look into percent of portfolio. Okay. So how do we derive these? This is a good exercise with data engineering and data manipulation or analysis. So we can grab our clean DF, our beloved clean DF. Now that it's enriched with data, we can say total cost. Okay. How do we calculate total cost? If you think about it, total cost is basically is uh, your purchase price multiplied by the quantity, right? So you have purchase price multiplied by the quantity. So we can put these formulas right here, just for your records. Total cost equals purchase price multiplied by quantity. Okay. And then we can put another one here. So trying to be descriptive as much as possible for you. That way you understand what we're doing here. Current value. How do we calculate current value? So current value is basically going to be the current price multiplied by the quantity, right? So this is purchase price actually. Yeah. So then you do current price. So purchase price for total cost, and then current value, you do current price multiplied by quantity as well. And we have quantity, right? And then percent of portfolio. This is going to be using something unique of Pandas. It does it very quickly. You basically get the sum, right? You get the sum of the sum by portfolio ID divided by the, actually you want this to be the denominator, sum by portfolio So we'll call this, yeah, sum by portfolio ID, and then you need the current value. So current value divided by the sum by portfolio ID. Okay, so these are the calculations. Let me show you how you could do that. It's easy also in pandas. It's very descriptive. So we can say purchase price, right? Because we said purchase price multiplied by quantity. So we use the asterisk. This is the multiplication for us. And then we'll say clean data frame, and then we'll use quantity, right? And that gives me the total cost, okay? And we'll check on these new columns in a second, and we'll say clean df, and we'll put current value. This is a brand new column again. So we just put the name here, current value equals clean df again. And we're going to grab our current price now and multiply it by the quantity, right? I can just copy from this one here just to save time. And let's build these. So this is going to be value and cost. So values and costs, right? We'll inspect them later. And then the other one is going to be the percent of portfolios. Like I said, we need to calculate the sum. So we can call this portfolios, portfolios totals equals my clean df. So this is a cool function called group by. It can group by the data for me, okay? And if I take a look at it, actually portfolio ID right here. So I'll say portfolio ID, okay? So this is my portfolio ID, and I want to grab it by current value. So just for display purposes, I just want to double check and I want to inspect my data, right? So I'll just do dot sum right here. If I take a look at my portfolio totals now, you'll see all of these portfolios. So I'll say, let's inspect the outcome of our group by. This is data aggregation, basically. Remember what I talked about earlier in enriching the data? This is data aggregation. We aggregated, we bundled the totals for every portfolio because we're going to use it in the fraction. Okay, so now I can use it. Now we can use the calculation in a fraction. Okay, let me just put this as a summary, but then I'll use this totals as an actual number. So I can define this right here. So say totals equals to same code, but we're going to be using a really nice shortcut function. And we're going to be using a function called dot transform, which is going to build me that list of portfolio totals independently like this, okay? Because I don't need the portfolio ID. This is just for display. So we just want to have the portfolio totals only, okay? And now I can grab my clean data frame with a brand new column called percent of portfolio, okay? Percent of portfolio. And then we can say, by the way, I want to make sure I round this value so we can round it. So we can say here equals round in case we have multiple decimal places. Now we can grab our clean df current value, because again, it's a fraction, right? Current value, what do we do with current value? We basically, let me actually add parentheses just inside it, and we're going to divide by the portfolio totals. Okay? We want to multiply it by 100 for the percentage, right? And when we want to round, we'll round to the place of 2. So now let's take a look at our clean data with a sample of 10. And there you have it. So now we have the percent of portfolio. Some holdings are 7% or 0.07. This is multiplied by 100. So yeah, it's 7%, right? And then you have 33, okay, 51.51, and then you have 1.46%. Okay, so these are smaller fractions, but we can take a look at an additional sample to inspect the data here. 1 second, let me take a look. Yeah, so you can see 2.75 and whatnot. So you've got all of these percentages. Okay, that's good. Now we move on to some data inspection. So I'm doing a time check. So we've got about an hour. So let's go ahead and do some data inspection. So now we're going to do, and I think I put in the steps, I put the step 5 maybe. We can go to the top right here. Step 5 EDA. Okay, so let's go ahead and do step 5. Some data inspection, just to make sure our data looks good. Okay, and this should be even in the data inspection piece. So I'll put it right here. So here's our sample. All I did is I clicked on the arrow, which moves the cell down. So I just moved it in the right section. That's all I did. Okay. Now let's build something fun. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be leveraging a library called Plotly. So if you go here, and if you look up Plotly, Python. This is one of my favorite libraries to build charts, and it builds interactive libraries in Python. So for example, if you want to build a pie chart right here, so you can see, builds a nice pie chart for you, and it gives you even the code, what to do and what to use. And you can see here that we have different options, and you can build a donut chart if you wanted to. You can have filters. So it's a very good library to use. Let me actually take a step back and I send you the link right here if you need it. It's a, it's a great library to use. I highly recommend it. So here's the library and we're going to be using it. Okay. And in order to use it, I need to import a component from it. So we're going to go up here and we'll put for visualization since we already imported matplot library. I'm going to put this for visualization right here. And then we say import plotly dot graph objects as geo. That's it, it's graph object abbreviated as go. Okay, so I have the library now, and I want to build a pie chart of all the um, allocation. Okay, so we want to build a visual. So we'll say here, build a, we call it donut chart for portfolio allocation by stock name. We want to see the volume of these stocks, okay? So we want to basically see the volume of these stocks. So what we could do is we could aggregate the data first. So aggregate, right? So we can say stock allocation, can build a data set called stock allocation, clean data frame, and we can use the group by function again, right? And then we can put the stock name, right? Because that's the element that we're trying to get. Here's the stock name, by the way. This is the field that I'm trying to gather. So stock name, right? So we put stock name here, and then I need to use .ag function, and we'll call this with current allocation, okay, equals. I want to grab the current value, okay, and then the sum, because all I'm doing is the sum operation. Now, You might argue, can I just use the dot sum function? Yes, that's an easy way, but this one gives me a label. That's why I like it. Okay. And then you want to dot reset index because the aggregation builds an index or makes the labels as an index, and I don't want that. So let's take a look at our stock allocation data set. There you go. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Okay. This is an overall value of current value. Okay. Overall value of the current values. All I did here is I summed the current value. So now I have current allocation column, right? And it tells me AbbVie is 1,373,000. Alphabet is 2,246,000 and things like that. Okay. So what do we do next? We need to calculate the allocation percentage. Okay, so okay. Now I don't have to do that sometimes. You can just right away plot this, but it'll be nice to see percentages. Okay. So what we could do is we could calculate the total stock, total current value stocks, like we have an overall total. This is similar functionality that what we did earlier, right? So we grab our stock allocation and we get our current allocation dot sum. Okay, so this is going to give me the overall total. So we can do the percentages. Then we can grab our stock allocation data frame and we'll say allocation percent equals to, and let's round it just like what we did earlier. It's going to be the same thing, a fraction, right? So we grab our stock allocation right here of current. We need the current allocation. Okay. And then divided by the total current value of the stock. Remember, we need to put this in parentheses. Let me actually remove this for now. That way we have enough room to show the full formula. Let's wrap this with parentheses because we want to round it to, we're going to multiply it by 100 and then round it to 2 decimal values. Okay. Now, if I want to take a look at my stock allocation, there you go. Here's my data set. You can see these are the percentages and they should add up to 100. How do we double check that? Well, I can go here and I can say, so sanity check. All percentages should add up to 100. So if I just grab this and I do dot sum, there you go. You can see 100.01. So that extra, just a comment here, that extra 0.01 is from rounding. Okay, rounding could cause such a difference. Okay. And then finally, well, I kind of wanted to sort this. So let's go ahead and sort it. So I will say sort for better visualization. So we can grab this sort allocation right here. Okay. And I can do equals to stock allocation dot sort values. That's a function in pandas called sort values. And then we're going to say by equals to, and we're going to say we're doing it by allocation percentage. Okay. We want it from descending, so we'll say ascending equals false. Now I can take a look at stock allocation. You'll see the largest is Vanguard ETF 12 all the way, and then Invesco QQQ all the way to this one. SoFi is the smallest allocation. Okay, so now we're ready. Build the visual. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to define a figure. We'll say go dot figure again. Okay, and then we'll say data. And what I did is I borrowed from a code from Plotly. So you'll see if you go here to basic charts, they give you the code. So I'm not coming up with stuff on my own. You can see that there's pie chart code everywhere, multiple examples right here. Okay. You can either use the Express or you can use this as the Go. You can see it says Go figure. And in fact, you can copy it right here and I'll modify it as we go. So here we go. And I'm going to say data equals Go Pi. So we're going to say for labels, it's going to be stock allocation. And we'll say stock name. These are going to be my labels, right? We're going to use these as labels. And values, what are the values? The percentages, right? So stock allocation with brackets, and then you say allocation percent. Okay. Now you can make a donut hole. So you can say here hole equals, we'll give it maybe a small ratio like 30%, maybe 0.3. Okay. So this is going to set a hole for donut chart, the whole size pretty much. All right. And I think that is pretty much it. Let's go ahead and run this. And there you have it. So here's your visual. This is our allocation. So we have a legend on the right that helps us see the stock allocation. And I can add a title if you want. So let's say we wanted to make this as like report ready. So I can say figure dot update layout. Oh, by the way, when you start typing the first piece of the function, if you don't remember the function, how it's spelled out, the recommendation should help you as well. So you can see here, update layout. I chose it and selected it, opened it. Now we can say title text equals to portfolio allocation by stock name. All right. So I run this. Now you can see there's the title. You can actually grab this and save it as a PNG. Okay, so you can click on this and it'll save it as a PNG for you, right? And you can download it and share it with your friends. The Plotly library is very interactive. You can hover over this and you can see the actual value. So you see, okay, I mean, it's extra, but it's nice with the title at the top. And you can customize the hover information, okay? All right. So let's see. We've got still some time. We've got about 45 minutes. Do we want to answer any quick questions? Do we have any questions? It's free. I see someone is asking, is it free? Yes, it is free. So I'll answer that one. Um, that's why it's accessible and has a large support community because it's free. And what I like about it, they have great documentation. Plotly, that is. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else we're gonna do. Let's go ahead and build an executive summary. And I'm gonna show you then after that how you could try to automate some of that. But let's go ahead and build an executive summary. And then we can move on to the Gen AI piece at some point. That way we can get like a summary, an analysis of this. So let's say that we have we'll say build or print an executive. Let's put this, I think I started using triple hashtag. So this was the build a donut chart, right? And then we're going to build okay. So we're going to build an executive summary in text format. I'll show you how you could do that. So what you could say, you could start with print, and we can say here, executive portfolio insights. Okay, so we'll put it here. You can make it look nice and put like a line. So if you want to put like a line here, and you can say, you can just repeat that, or sometimes you can multiply actually. You can do this multiplied by 30, and you can take a look at the output here. So you see it gave me like executive portfolio insights. So we can make this maybe before it. That way it looks nice, like with a top right here. Okay. Now, once we have this, we can add additional stuff, right? So calculate metrics across the entire enterprise, prize or firm. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, we're going to say total invested, okay, equals my clean DF. How do we get total invested? We can just grab my clean DF, total cost, okay, dot sum. That gives us the overall total cost. I'm just grabbing the full total cost, okay? And then I'm going to copy this and change it. I'm going to, instead of total cost here, I'm going to do current value. What are we using this for? This is going to be called the total current value. So we're seeing how much was invested and how much is the full investment is today. Okay, total current value. So these are two numbers that we're going to be using as metrics. Okay, and then total profit loss. So this is going to be also total. We can leverage actually these. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. See how variables are so dynamic? So basically what I did, I established these two, and then I use this one, total current value right here, and then total invested right here. Okay. All right. So now that we have this, let's go ahead and calculate the ROI percentage, right? So that's going to be the difference, right? Total profit loss. So profit or loss, that's what we're saying, profit or loss. We're going to grab this and divide it by total invested. Let's multiply by 100. And we're going to go here with total invested. Okay. And that should give us these calculations. I'm going to put it here. Okay, because this is just the preparation. Let me make sure I spelled things right. Current, I need a T. You have to be very literal and specific in pandas, which makes sense. Because you want to call exactly that column, right? So now you can, in your report, you can say, we'll repeat this print function. And let's actually add a new line. We can just say print here. You can put a blank, you can do a new line symbol. You have multiple options that you can use. All right, so let's say now we're going to do, we'll use the F string here. And I'm going to grab, or I can say basically total assets under management. Okay. And we're going to call this AUM. That's a terminology in investment, basically. We're going to do, we put the dollar sign here. Okay. And then this is the nice part, is that total current value, you put it in curly brackets, and then you can format this. You can format this by using comma and then 0.2 float. Okay, so this is basically going to format the data, format with decimal and comma separator. Right, decimal, dollar sign, and comma separator. All right. In fact, I can test it now. So let's go ahead and run it. Look at this. Now we have total assets under management, AUM. There you go. And I can repeat this, right? So you can now just repeat this whole thing here. And instead of total assets under, we say total principal. invested. Okay. And this is going to be my total invested right here. Okay. Notice I'm using derived values, right? And then finally, we'll use print. Okay. We'll say net profit or loss. Okay. And that would be right here. We're going to say total profit loss. Put it as an F string as well by using the let me put the dollar sign correctly. So use the curly brackets, and then it's going to be total profit loss. Same thing, comma, 0.2 float. Now I can go here and I can put parentheses. Inside it, I can say the ROI. I can list the ROI. So we'll say ROI, and we can say 0.2 float, and we'll add the percent as total return. Now let me make sure I got the parentheses inside here. Why is the percent not printing? There you go. And we're going to put the percent right here. So let me go ahead and run this. Perfect. Okay, let's inspect this. I'll give you guys a second just to take a look at it. If you see a mistake, let me know. I mean, sometimes just typing things and talking could be I may miss something. But looks like I have my total assets under management, total principal invested, net profit loss. Okay, so I misspelled total return. There you go. So we'll say total return. Okay. So here's your total return. Let me rerun this. So now you have like an executive portfolio. You can add additional stuff, right? So for example, you can, let's think about things. What we could do is we could look into the portfolio values. Okay. So we can look at the same breakdown that we did. You remember this breakdown that we did right here? Current value. So we can do that. Let's actually do the following. This is what we're going to do. Let's leverage the GenAI functionality. Okay. So you have the clean data frame, the group by, right? Portfolio ID, and then you have the current value. Now what I want to do is can go here. I can say we can click here and then transform code. And you can see the pop-up right here. So what are we going to do? So add a component. So make sure you say add. You're adding a component. You're not like overriding. So you don't want it to wipe out what you already have. So add a component that shows a breakdown. This is basically aggregation of multiple metrics by portfolio ID. Okay. So, for example, number of unique assets, total cost, profit, etc. Okay, so now if I run this, let's see what it's going to do. Sometimes you have to pinpoint exactly the data frame that you want to use, but let's see, it's pretty smart. It can do that for me. Let's do accept and run and see what it does. Yeah, so like you can see portfolio ID right here, but I'm not a fan of this. So what I want to do is we can go here back to transform. I'm not happy with like a row for each. We can go back to transform. Okay. And it's using the right clean DF or right data frame. So check for that. Make sure you do that. change the for the portfolio insights, print it out in a table format rather than a row for each, or a line, wrapped line for each portfolio. So let's see if this fixes it for us. This is a great opportunity. I'm going to switch this to 3 Flash. That's a better Gemini LLM. It's fastest, it's the latest for Google. Okay, so now it looks like it did make the adjustments. I'm going to do accept and run. And there you have it. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Look at this report. It's very nice. It even put the pipes for me, right? And just so I can see the line separators. It just happened that every portfolio has the same total unique of stocks, right? Which is just, it's basically the data. Just tells the executive everyone is investing in the same stocks, okay? So it's insightful to say the least. But you can see now I have my report. See, like this is what we call a call out, right? This is what we call a call out. This is what we have as a portfolio ID, assets, total invested, current value, or ROI. You know, it's very insightful. These are the portfolio numbers or codes. If you have people's names, right? Or entities' names, like sometimes companies invest in a hedge fund or a firm, you'll see like names instead of portfolio ID. So you have so many options. You saw how we piece things together, right? Step by step. But that gives you an idea of how powerful Python can be. Because right now, imagine I have just one file that I imported for the portfolio, okay? Imagine if I have multiple files. So I'll put it as a note here. The code above serves as a foundation to automate building reports for multiple firms or wallets, investment portfolios. Okay, using loops, we can automate further by picking up multiple files and running the same block of code. Okay, so see pseudocode below. So I'm just going to give you the architecture, like the pseudocode for it. So let's say you have, for example, here, I'm going to use the syntax because we don't want to execute this piece of code. So let's say you have portfolio files, okay? And in my case, we only imported this file, right? So we imported this file right here, okay? So what we want to do is we want to say portfolio files, and it's a list of files. So we can say portfolio data part 1. Let's say you were tasked because you have the data is in chunks. So you have portfolio data part 1, right? Now portfolio data part 2, and so on, okay? And then portfolio data part 3. So in terms of automation, you can basically automate this. Okay, how do we do that? Well, you go here and you say for file, we'll call it portfolio file in portfolio files. Okay, right? And then you can execute the following steps. So you can put the whole block of code inside this. So you can say, so we said we wanted to do the same stuff, data cleansing stage here, and then this will be 1 here, and then 2 will be the data, just like what we did the steps here. Let me show you, just to remind you the section. So data enrichment, and then final data prep. Okay, so you put the data enrichment together. You can actually data integration. Okay, so what you do here, you use a concat function, using the concat function. Example, here's an example. You will use something like final data frame equals pd.concat, and then you just do df1, df2, df3. This is after you have all of these, okay? So you're building all of these data frame. You can put the data integration right here. And you can do the data cleansing after. Let's put the data integration at the end. I think that will be either way. If you want to clean the data after integrating, that works. Or if you want to just do it before, either way. So now we'll put this step as data integration is the final step outside the loop, okay? Because you're integrating the data after you're done, right? So now then you just do step here as data enrichment. Same as the steps that we did before. So that would be the wireframe for the code right here. Okay, so that's how you can automate this process. Okay, I've got a good question here. Don't you think that AI like Julius AI or Midjourney AI are better to evaluate the data analytics for modeling and report making jobs? Well, here's the problem. You can rely on that. Yeah, that's true. You can rely on that, but what if you get a job and they don't let you access Julius AI? Not every company gives access. I can tell you that from experience. I've worked with so many companies, they do not want, because think about it. You're sharing data with Julius AI. What if your data is sensitive, right? You have sensitive data, you have private data. You don't want to share that. You have portfolios, you have investments. This is people's information. You get sued if you share this information to Julius AI. So that's reason why you want to avoid these scenarios. Plus, a lot more customization comes with this here. I know I'm showing high-level functionality overall, but you can do a lot more, right? And customize it specifically to your need. Okay. Now, with this, we've got about 25. Do we have 25 minutes or do we need to leave time for also your the rest of your slides? How are we doing on time? How much time do I have left? That's the question.
About 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay. So let me go ahead and show you guys how you could use generative AI to add more detail to your information. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to be using a model, and we'll go to Hugging Face community in a second. Let me put a section here. Enriching the data with Gen AI by building a summary. Okay. So I'm going to using Hugging Face. So you go Hugging Face and you look up, there are multiple models. The model I'm looking for is called Distill GPT-2. It basically uses GPT-2, and I get it. It's outdated now, but it's quick for our exercise, right? So this is the model that I'm talking about, okay? So you can find it here. I'll put the link for it in here. Okay. So we'll be using this from the Hugging Face community. Um, this is an LLM model. It is a GPT-2, okay, from the Hugging Face community for free. This is still free of charge. All right, to do this, you need to import from transformers, import pipeline. So this is how you import it. And they have instructions, by the way, here, how to use it. If you scroll down, they have code snippets, how to use it. It's not here anymore, but I'm sure you can find it somewhere. They have things like files and versions and how to use, README. I'll let you dive deep into this documentation, but I'll show you how to do it, okay? So first of all, you need to initialize the text generation pipeline, okay? And then use smaller, faster model. That's what we're trying to do here, okay? But you can switch to a larger model if applicable. So we'll say generator, okay, equals to pipeline, right? And we're going to define the task, which is text generation, okay? And then we're going to say model equals to, it's called, as I sent you in the link, Distill GPT-2, okay? And then you can define the tokens. The tokens basically is the maximum size. So max new tokens, this is the limit of the text generated. Okay, so limiting the text output. Okay, so we're defining the generator functionality, right? Now, I need to, you can see here it downloaded the data. While it's downloading, just to save time, we want to prepare data elements for the prompt, okay? So we want to prepare the data elements for the prompt, and I want to say overall return percent. Could have used like the previously run one, but just to be safe, I want to get the average. So overall return percent, and I want to say my portfolio summary. I thought we built a portfolio insights. Is it called portfolio insights? The one that has percent? Yeah, portfolio insights. So we'll have portfolio insights, okay? And we're going to do the average return, right? So ROI, and it will just get the average, okay? Now let me make sure that we have the right one here. So overall return percent. Yeah, so it's overall return is 11%. That is the average of these. It makes sense. You have 9, you have 12, you have 10, you have 11, 15. So that is the average of these ROI. So I'm double checking my numbers here. How much time do we have left? Are we almost out of time? Let's check, doing time check here. Let's see what we have. Okay, so we have 15 minutes. Oh no, I'm checking for because I want to leave a buffer. Yeah, I think we're good here. So anyway, so now we have this element, right? So this is my data. Now, we're gonna look also at the top portfolio. So I'm gonna say top portfolio. Okay, so this is the last piece here. And we're gonna say the portfolio insight here. Okay, let me make sure we got it the right. So here's the ROI. Yep, there you go. So top portfolio is going to be the one with the highest ROI, right? So we're going to grab top portfolio here. And what we're going to do is we're going to look into the index that has the maximum. Okay. So if I go here and I just say, let me actually look at the data frame again. So top portfolio is going to be this whatever it's going to be by sorting the values. So we're going to grab sort insights and we're just going to do sort values. okay? And we're going to say ascending equals false. We need to say by equals ROI, okay? So if I run this, you'll see I have the 15%. This is the portfolio performed the best, okay? Now all I need to do is just to grab the portfolio ID from it. So I need to say here, portfolio ID. And that gives me this one, and then just the first one right here. And that's it. Okay, see how I, piece by piece, I put it together. So now all I have to do is just grab it here and put it here. This is the top portfolio. All right. Okay, so for the sake of our time, let me go ahead and show you. I've got the prompt ready anyway. So I'm going to copy from my notes, and then we can end the training session. We'll include this link for you. But basically what we're trying to do here is I'm trying to grab, oh, we need the overall return percent as well. So let me actually get that as well. Oh, I have overall return per, oh, I think I misspelled it right here. Okay, there it is. Never mind. So now I have the prompt ready and it's taking my inputs. I can run it and we can take a look at the portfolio narrative. Let me make sure I got this as a string. So we convert everything to a string basically, or let's see, overall return percentage. Let's go ahead and just make this as, because it's not liking this one being a float right here. So indices must be integers and then top portfolio. So it should be right here. Yeah. Okay, and then we'll fix the last one right here. So we call this overall percentage. Let me make sure I got this here. And then the top portfolio. I'll go ahead and just assume here, just for the sake of our time, I'm just going to put like a value, 15% for now, just so we can get it to work. Okay. Well, I am running through an issue and I know we are running short on time. Let me go ahead and fix this and I'm sure I should be able to fix it in the next 10 minutes. But yeah, I'll bring it back to you and I'll update you guys once I get it fixed.
Sure. All right. So in the meantime, I will take you guys through the course that we were talking about earlier. So just give me a minute. And for those of you who said that they missed the poll, we haven't launched the poll yet. I will share it in the next 10 minutes, so right before 9. And you will also be receiving your, uh, the post-webinar resource that we told you at the beginning of the webinar as well. All right, so you guys already we already spoke about the data analytics certification program, and Basil did talk to you in depth about what you can expect, the tools that we will be using. So I'm just gonna walk you through the curriculum. And before that, I just want to highlight some of the points that we discussed previously as well. So this course is in collaboration with Microsoft Azure. You're gonna be taught by experts in this field, and you will have hands-on learning as a part of this course. Just like today's workshop, you are going to work on multiple projects, which I'm going to talk about in the next 5 to 7 minutes. I'm not going to take more than that of your time. I want to quickly run you all through the curriculum and what we are going to cover as a part of this course. So this learning path is actually structured very strategically. So it follows the same progression that happens inside real analytics teams and organizations. So you're going to begin with business analytics using Excel and SQL. And honestly, that's the backbone of analytics even today. So most people jump straight into AI and dashboards, but in reality, if you are working under any businesses, that you need the understanding, and if the understanding is weak, the rest of it just becomes superficial, right? From there, the program moves into Python and R. Now, this is where you transition from basic reporting into real analytical thinking. So there's automation, data manipulation, predictive analysis, handling larger data sets, and building scalable workflows as a part of this. And the addition of AI concepts alongside Python is extremely relevant because companies today, as you all know, are looking for analysts who can work faster and smarter along with the use of AI. So this is also integrated as a part of the curriculum. Then comes the visualization and storytelling aspects through Tableau and Power BI. And trust me, this is the part that often separates good analysts from really valuable analysts. So businesses today don't just pay for insights, they also pay for clarity. So this will help you take messy data and present it to the leadership or stakeholders. And finally, what also stands out here is the Microsoft integration. So especially Azure and Power BI certifications. So that is going to be provided as a part of this course. And finally, you will have capstone projects. And this is honestly one of the most important parts because projects are what bridge the gap between the fact that you learned that online, but project showcase that you have applied it somewhere and you will be able to apply it at your workplace as well. So overall, the curriculum is not just designed for you to learn. This is to make you job ready, and that is exactly what we do. Moving on, I'm going to talk to you about some of the projects that you will be working on as a part of your portfolio and as a part of this course. So this is something that the program focuses really heavily on because your projects speak a lot about your work, what you can do at your workplace, and obviously can help you crack your interviews as well. So you are not working on random practice data sets here. So these are business style projects using tools like Tableau, SQL, Python, and Power BI to solve real analytical problems. So you can see the topics on the screen. So for example, you'll work on dashboards, customer behavior analysis, reporting systems, trend analysis, and also business insights. So this is the exact kind of work analysts do in real companies. So you're just going to get this as a part of this course. And this is very important because when you go for interviews, freelance opportunities, or anything that's basically out there, you need to show proof of your work. And that is what we are trying to deliver through this course. And finally, I'm just going to talk to you about the skills and tools that are covered as a part of the course. So right now, we all know that it's not just about the certification. People look at the skills that you have and the tools that you can work with. So I'm not going to dive deep into all of the skills and tools, but some of the major skills that are covered as a part of this course are data analytics, statistical analysis using Excel, data analysis using Python and R, data visualization, Tableau and Power BI, linear and logistic regression models, clustering using means, and supervised learning and unsupervised learning. So these are some of the skills and the tools. I think Basil already spoke about this before when we discussed about the course and how this course could be helpful. And I understand that a lot of you have stayed with us till the very end working on a workshop like this. So I'm assuming that a lot of you might be interested to pursue data analytics if you are not already in this field. So I also got a few inquiries from the audience about the course fees and what they can expect from the course. So the program investment for this course is 57,000 rupees for Indian learners. And you have the option to pay this in installments as low as 4,750 rupees per month. And for US learners, the course fee is $1,449, and you also have the option to pay this in installments. So right now, please do consider this as an investment in your career because we all know that the job is growing, and with AI coming into place, we are really looking forward to having data analysts who can leverage AI to build processes, workflows, and also analyze huge amounts of data. And that's exactly what we did in this webinar. So I'm going to quickly launch a poll for all of you here. If you are interested to enroll for this course, or if you'd like to talk to our program and advisors to learn more about this course, please click on a yes, and our team will reach out to you at the earliest and will help you answer with answers to all of your queries. So I'm just gonna launch this poll right now. I hope the poll is visible to all of you. Also, because of the interest of time, I got a few queries about the course. Unfortunately, we're not in a position to elaborate more on the projects or the learning pathway. So you can scan this QR code that you are seeing on the screen right now. So this will take you to the course page. Please take a look at the learning path. Look at the the modules that are covered, look at the skills tools, and there are also some real user stories as a part of this course, so please feel free to go check it out. We're really confident about what we provide at Simplilearn, and your experience is what matters to us. So yeah, if feel free to check out other courses as well, and take a call if you are thinking about it. I think it is the right time, because data analyst career is also booming right now. And with that, I think I'm gonna move on to the next slide. I hope the poll is visible to all of you. If it is not, you can again go to the course page. There will be an option to talk to the advisor. So you can click on that, and that will take you will receive a call from our team's end as well. And finally, as promised, this is the resource that we were talking about, the data science toolkit. 25 Python scripts every analyst should have. So you can scan this QR code and you will be redirected to a drive. You can download the resource over there. You will be receiving it. And in case you're not able to, we will be sharing the slide deck with all of you. So you can scan the QR code at that point. And even then, if it is not resolved, you can write to us and we will share the resource with all of you. So I'm gonna move on to the questions part of it. Basil, would you want to share your screen? Should I stop sharing my screen for a while?
Yeah, let me go ahead and share. So I got around the issue. It
Yeah,
was
sure.
just few variables
All
that
right.
needed some formatting. But yeah, let me share here, and you guys can see that it gave us actually a nice piece of insight here. And yeah, so like I had to just go back and make sure that the formatting is good to go with the elements. Okay. And then also, just as a bonus, I added a few additional charts that I want to show you that I really like. This is what we call tree map chart. This tree map chart basically helps you get a sense of the volume of your assessments, similar to pie chart, but think of it as like in a rectangular format. So the larger the box, the higher the allocation or the sector volume. So you can see technology is the largest, next to is index funds and ETFs and so on, right? And you can look at the values here. This is 22%, 0.5, and this is 24%. Here's another visual with the portfolios. We know that portfolio 1001 is the largest and the one that performed the best. So you can see it says 15% return on investment. And finally, the transformer or the LLM pipeline with GPT-2. I pulled it in again and I used the same prompt. We're using overall return percent, top portfolio with the top portfolio ID, and then the return percentage. That way we can give it full information. And um, finally, once this is done, we get this final assessment. So it says the financial advisor should be able to learn from their clients as well as what the advisors are doing in order to miss out upon investment by focusing. It's just trying to give it an assessment. But keep in mind, this is GPT-2, so it's gonna fabricate a little bit of information. It does have hallucination. That's what we call is fabricate some information. But what I would do, I would encourage you as a takeaway from this, experiment with other models, advanced models, because they do take time a little bit, but they will give you a lot better content. Okay, but this is a good example. Now you can take this because you have an object called portfolio narrative. You can take it and embed it in your report and finally export it. Okay. But that's it, I guess, for today. We didn't get to do everything, but I think it was enough content. It was probably rich with a lot of techniques. So I hope you guys learned from this and enjoyed this journey from starting with raw data all the way to building these reports. I've I think I've included the link somewhere. Let me go here. I'll paste it in the main Zoom chat. Let me get that as well. Right here. And I think I've included my LinkedIn link. So you guys feel free to connect with me. Here's my LinkedIn link. Would love to answer any questions you may have about Simplilearn or your career or anything like that. So feel free to connect with me. That's it.
All right, everyone. I think there's just one more thing remaining. That's the certificate of participation. We got a lot of queries around this, so I'm going to launch the poll right now for certificates. Please let me know if this is visible to all of you. You can just fill your full name here, and we will be sharing the certificates with all of you. I can see that I'm receiving responses from the audience. So I'm hoping that it's visible to all of you. In case the poll is not visible, please write to us at webinars@simplylearn.net. I'm going to drop that in the chat as well. I've got a lot of questions about the resources, so I'll also try to share all the resources that you guys discussed in today's webinar to your email ID along with the certificates so that you can, in case a few of you missed the initial part of the webinar, so feel free to watch the recording and catch up on everything that you've missed. And I request all of you not to share your names in the chat. The chat is not recorded and you will not be receiving your certificates if you share it in the chat. Right. And I think it's time for, I wrote you guys twice. Okay, I will check with the team and get back to you on that. That usually does not happen, but we will surely get back to you. Can you also let me know your name? The person who said that you've written to us and has not gotten the certificate. All right. So with that, I think we have come to the end of the webinar. This workshop was wonderful. So I also wanted to let you all know that we have another workshop on June 9th. And this is going to be about an app, how to build a working app live with one prompt. So if you are interested, you can again scan this QR and register for the upcoming webinar. We would love to see all of you in that webinar as well. And we've come to the end of this, and Basil, I think I should really tell you it was a wonderful workshop. Learned a lot. You actually took us through all the steps in detail. Thank you for giving so much clarity, and I saw so many comments directed towards you, thanking you for delivering such a wonderful workshop. So, any last words to our audience, or any piece of advice that you'd like to leave our audience with?
Thank you for the kind words, and thank you for everyone for asking good questions as well. Those were helpful along the journey. And I think what I just showcased is, I would say, and I'm not trying to overwhelm you, it's the one drop in the bucket pretty much, but still, it's exciting. It just shows like how the realm of data is vast, whether you're achieving this for your or seeking data analysis, data engineering. There are definitely multiple professions and specialties for this. But you are in the right place right now, trying to seek this information, seek this knowledge. Yes, it may be overwhelming, but just take it one step at a time. And I think you'll achieve something someday.
Thank you so much, Basil. Thank you for that wonderful piece of advice. It was great having you with us. I enjoyed hosting you, and I also enjoyed hosting all of you guys. You were a wonderful audience. You were very active, asked a lot of questions. I tried to answer as many as I could, and Basil also took up most of our questions. So, in the interest of time, we have to conclude this webinar, and I really, really look forward to having a lot of you join us and be a part of Simplilearn journey as well. So if you have any more feedback, if you have issues with your certificates, sorry about that. We will try to respond to all of your emails. And with that, thank you, everybody. And I'll see you all in the upcoming sessions. I'm going to end the poll here. Again, if you've not seen the poll, please write to us and we will surely get back to you. Hope you all have